Good evening, everyone. My name is Mazi Ezoke, and this evening we will be having a special conversation regarding the upcoming Anambra gubernatorial election. And the topic of this discussion this evening will be exposing the plans to rig the 2021 Anambra state election and the consequences regarding, and also the security challenges. Now, to have this conversation with me, I will be having Comrade Emeka Mabalasi, who is the BOT chairman, Inter-Society for Civil Liberties and Rule of Law, which in short, many of you know as Inter-Society. Comrade Emeka, good evening and welcome to Njenje Media TV.
Thank you, Tochku. Now,
So, also to join us in having this conversation is also a comrade, Aloysius Ata, who is also the chairman, um, uh, Civil Liberty Organization within the Southeast. Comrade Ata, you're welcome.
Yeah, good evening from Nigeria. Thank you, my brother.
Good evening, everyone. Now, let's get the ball rolling here. I think, as you all know, the topic here says regarding, the topic that we are going to have this evening is going to be centering around the rigging, or rather the anticipated rigging that is going to happen or about to happen in Anambra State. Now, but before we get into that, there is a breaking news. And that breaking news is that the IPOB has called off the 1-week sit-at-home order this evening. Comrade Emeka, are you able to confirm that?
yeah, sure. It's confirmed because we got the information from. I can hear you. I can hear you clearly.
Okay, go
ahead. Can you hear me? I said it is confirmed.
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Because it is confirmed because when I got information from the reliable source. As a matter of fact, one of the lawyers to the leader of the mainstream agitator at the self-determination group, and I put a call across, and it was confirmed. So the statement just came this evening, and I'm aware that moves were being made, just like they were stated in the statement, to get this thing off. So it's confirmed. The valid statement.
Okay. So now, if I come to you, Comrade Ata Emeka, if you now haven't done this, that IPOB have now said no more sit-at-home order as they issued for 1 week, what do you think will be the impact in terms of the electoral turnout or voter turnout in 2 days?
Well, there is a saying that goes by better be late than the late. Why do I say better be late than the late? It's a big relief, a cheering news, though it is coming late, because that has been our position. Coalition issued over time made it clear that timely reversal. We called for a timely reversal of the sit-at-home by IPOB, and now that it is coming this evening, the news has gone viral, but it's a bit late, because going by the reality on ground, a lot of harm has been done already, in the sense that the general impression is that people have already made conclusions that as from tomorrow, they are inside and they are not coming out for their own safety. As I was driving through the streets this evening, it was like a war zone in Onitsha. Before now, many people have left Anambra State. Enugu is booming with influx of people from Anambra who relocated and said they are not coming back before the election, until after the election. Okay, I spoke with some stakeholders in Anambra who reside in Abuja and Lagos all through yesterday evening. And 80% of those people told me that they are staying back, they are not coming for the election. But this is a situation which, if they had handled it earlier, it would have doused the tension. The greater number of Anambrarians residing outside the state would have been part of the process statutory. By tomorrow, I doubt. In fact, some people will still say that they don't believe it, because we know the system we operate in Nigeria. Because they will still tell you that it has happened before. After all, IPOB said they have cancelled the Monday sit-at-home order. But every Monday, people are afraid to come out, because there have been every Monday, there are recorded incidents of those who risk to come out, eventually encounter one problem or the other. Either your vehicle is burnt, either you are harmed or injured in one way or the other. So the harm has been done already. But we believe also that better delayed than delayed. Something can still come out of it.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, part of that statement here, I mean, this is the statement as was published by Njenje Media here, and some people already are writing in the comment section saying that the news is fake, that the news never happened. But there is something that is very striking here. Now, it says here that they've called this off. However, and also here, it goes ahead to say that there were several engagements with the leadership of the great Igbo nation. And one thing that one will ask, and as you have rightly pointed out before, recall that in 2019, the last minute to this election of 2019, this was given also as last minute, that was cancelled. Again, last minute to Anambra state election, we are seeing the same repeat. In 2017, it was the same thing. So has that become a trend that in 2017, 2019, 2021, we are seeing the same trend of saying no election boycott, then 2 days, or in some cases less than 2 days to the time, then people are asked to go and vote? Is there anything you need to add on that?
Yes.
Comrade?
Okay, yes. If you look at it critically, you know that it's a familiar terrain. It has become their pattern. And the game plan I issue has always been to scuttle the electoral process. Because I envisage some of us, yes, in the struggle knew that this was coming. So this announcement didn't come by surprise, actually, to some of us. But we know that the game plan our issue has done. Let us just mess up the whole thing, because at the end of the day, that atmosphere of uncertainty, that atmosphere of fear that has been already created, that pervades the scene, we mess up and muddle up the whole thing. And some of them will go back and say, and begin to pop champagne and say, yes, we have destroyed them. Well, yes, we have succeeded. Even when they said we are no more, we have rescinded our decision, but the harm has been done. So it has been a familiar trend. And honestly speaking, such process is not good. Because I was talking to a media organization 2 days ago, and I made it clear that you cannot say that you are running a race, and in the process of running a race, you decide to shoot yourself in the foot. If you shoot yourself in the foot while you are running a race, indirectly you've already crippled your journey. And if you are also pursuing a course, you don't subject your people to terrible suffering, terrible consequences, losses, involve most especially killing, people losing their life, your own people, in the course of you are pursuing a course, and it is your people that continue to pay the price over and over again. These are things that need to be addressed over time.
Okay, so let's come back to the issue that we have here at the moment. Now, let me bring in Comrade Emeko Mabarasi here. Emeko Mabarasi, you're welcome once more. Now, you issued out a report. You issued out a report by Inter-Society. You raised an alarm that there appears to be a rigging plan already orchestrated, already masterminded to be taking place this weekend in Anambra State. Could you walk the viewer to, the viewers across the world today, what you intend to achieve by that expose you have done? And can you actually also explain in details for better understanding of our viewers?
You know, the truth of the matter is that we are operating in a hostile environment, in a hostile political environment, to the extent that those who are governing the country at the center have continuously been hostile to the populace, even to the extent of extending their hostility to electoral process. And we, as part of our resolve to be part of an integral part of electoral process, with the specific reference to Anambra State, we've been more rigging. Yes, instances. So, in the case of Anambra State, can you hear me still?
Yes, we can, but you're breaking up a little bit. I think your network is. We can hear you, but it appears your network is a little bit cracking. So can you try
network? Okay, but can I talk now? Can I talk now?
Yes, yes, go ahead. You are clear now.
Okay, yeah, I said that yes, the rigging is real. You know, there are so many forms of rigging, and the more technologies are introduced, the more advancement in the field of electoral rigging or election rigging. So in the case of Anambra State, we have been part of the electoral process in Anambra State as far back as 1999, when Nigeria returned to civil rule. And we have been systematically following the patterns and trends of organization of elections in Anambra State. And that is exactly what we reminded the people to, and make them to be acquainted with what is going on in Anambra State. With respect to this election that is coming up in 2 days' time, we, foresaw several forms of rigging. Like Comrade Atta has just mentioned a dimension of rigging which was intended to, when you stop people, anything that will make members of the voting population to be stopped from voting or casting their vote and, popularly and credibly choosing their leaders is a form of rigging. So you have several forms of rigging facing the Anambra governorship election. And the Atta has mentioned the other aspect that has to do with the call for election boycott by way of sit at home 5 days or 7 days, and the e-suspension at the 11th hour when a lot of damages have been done. Then apart from that aspect of rigging, we also have rigging planned by the establishment within the context of security agencies, those who are supposed to be providing security, policing the electoral process and the Anambra electoral spaces. Now you look at the attitude, but I think we are still coming to that. The attitude towards the Anambra election, voting population. Then outside that, you also have rigging plans by the establishment at the central level, at the center, and the East ruling party is no longer hidden. In fact, that was the essence of the issuance of that report. You know, a few months ago, we got Intel report, and we went into action by way of investigation and discovered a lot of oddities with respect to plans to rig Anambra election, and we compiled and computed the findings, and they gave a warning. And this time around, we have to rework the report and you know, get it out for people to assess and know that this is real, and also for stakeholders in the Anambra election, to the credible stakeholders, not those who are also interested in rigging or manipulation, to also be in the know of what is happening and be acquainted with what is happening, so as to devise measures to stop that rigging plan. As a matter of fact, the federal government and its ruling party refer to November 6th election as the day of their crossover. So the day they intended to cross over what they have loaded. You remember, it is not out of place in Anambra, in the history of election in Anambra State. In 2003, 14th April governorship election, approximately 1 million votes, dead votes, were awarded to the person of Peace Ngige, who they declared winner by the INEC. And it took almost 3 years of electoral litigation for that armada of electoral fraud to be set aside and arrested in pieces. And in its place, it was discovered by courts that the winner of that election, the actual winner of that election, scored 235,000 votes. And those 235,000 votes were awarded to the actual winner of that election, who governed Anambra State for 8 years. Then, in the course of, after he was briefly sworn in, that is few weeks or months after his swearing in, that 2006, INEC went ahead and organized an election, excluding the incumbent governor, saying that his tenure has expired. Then, at the end of the election, in an election that was obvious that not up to 200,000 people participated, the INEC declared Emmanuel Nandioba of the PDP as the winner and awarded him 1.9 million votes. And under the leadership of CLU at that time, called by myself and Ata and others, we cried out and reminded the total number of people registered to vote in Anambra was 1.9 million or 1,844,000. Now you are awarding 1.9 million to somebody, saying he's the winner. After 2 days, the INEC under Iwude, Professor Maurice Iwu, addressed a press conference and reduced the award to 1.2 million and claimed that 900,000 people participated in the election. Yet they committed another blunder. If 900,000 people participated in the election, how come the so-called winner scored 1.2 million? INEC later again reduced it to 1,093,000 and so on and so forth. So that has been the case in Anambra State. So it didn't start with this 2021 governorship election. So we saw it and we have kept record. We are people of statistics. We have kept record of the elections in Anambra State. We are in the know of what happened during the first tenure of Peter Obi. Like I mentioned, during his second tenure, how many votes he got from total vote cast, which is 301,525. Then from the time of, what do you call this man, Obiano, during his first tenure, Obiano got 180,000 plus out of either 42,000. Then the second tenure, he got 224,000 votes, a mixture of living and dead votes, out of 400 and something thousand votes cast. and so on and so forth. So this has been the terrain. So between the period of Peter Obi and Obiano, it was only his second tenure election that was slightly tainted. Between this period, Anambra witnessed fairly credible elections, whereby the people who were declared winner, we went on with votes cast from from the voting population. But between the period of 2003 and 2007, we had two elections then, and the result declared by INEC were astonishing and very, very shocking. They were thousands of miles away from,
Sure. I mean, obviously, when you say that, you need to take into cognizance the introduction of technology, which also helped in drastically reducing these manipulations. But for clarity here, you've obviously outlined what Peter Obi got and Ngige. Now, do you have the figures of how the 2009 election went? Peter Obi's second term.
2009 or 2019?
2009.
Okay, the Peter Obi's second tenure, that was February 2010.
Okay, 2009.
Is it 2009? Okay, 2009, was it? Okay,
yes,
whatever. Whatever, I think it's supposed to be February 2010. So now, Peter's election then was, Peter's election, I said the total vote cast was 301,000 plus, and Peter scored 97,525.
Exactly.
So it points to
what it meant. No, what I'm driving at here is because these are where statistic comes in order to have a benchmark.
Let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you what happened in that election. When that election was fast approaching, we stumbled into the Anambra version of National Voters Register. So that was when we carried out investigation. Comrade Aloy is aware of what I'm saying. We carried out detailed investigation. We discovered that Anambra version of National Voters Register was filled with fictitious names and symbols like human skulls, doors, windows, and names of dead persons, including the names of the lives of Gani Fawami, Wole Soyinka, and a host of them. In fact, Gani Fawami was recorded as a registered voter at one polling unit in Ekurumiri. Likewise, Wole Soyinka. So we discovered that out of that figure, that has been the method used in the past to rig Anambra election. So we discovered that out of that figure that register was thoroughly investigated, statistically investigated. So at the end of the day, we told Indian Anambra there at press conference, if we even went to court, Inter-Society went to court at Federal High Court. Okay. And the judge fixed a date for judgment and ran away and never gave that judgment or the election was conducted. So now what I'm saying is that at that point in time, when we discovered that anomaly, we insisted as a result of our investigation that the total number of people that are supposed to exist in that voters register in the case of Anambra State is 600,000. Out of that 1.9 million, the fictitious dominated by fictitious names and whatever. So we told Indian Anambra, look, the people who are expected to vote in this election are not more than 600,000 people, according to what we discovered in that voters register. And at the end of the day, it prevented INEC from awarding bogus figures to whoever they prefer to award. So because of pressure from civil society organizations and the churches and what have you, that election was conducted and total number of vote cast was 301,525. Peter Obi got 97,525 votes. That was what happened in that particular election. You mentioned the issue of technology. Yes, during that time, the advancement in technology was not comparable to what is on the ground. But you know that the more technologies are developed, with respect to management and supervision and the conduct of elections, the more criminals, advance. It's like when you talk of virus and antivirus and what have you. So the more you develop antivirus, the more the criminal entities devise their own method. So what is happening now in this election now is that the latest technology, the scientific pattern of rigging we have here now, is that this issue of uploading of voters' cards, PVCs, there has been massive procurement of PVCs across the state. And that procurement, after procuring them, the PVCs or their PIN numbers, I mean, they are not being sent to the moon. They are procured for a particular purpose, a sinister purpose. And like in 2017, that was when we discovered that. In 2017, we discovered that INEC ICT department got brazenly compromised. And in the process, they allowed those procured PVC or belonging to, coordinated by a certain party and candidate to enter the strong room of INEC. Then the day of election, those PVCs were uploaded in INEC ICT server as validly cast vote. And for purpose of those, sensing that there are some parties that may go to court, they now smuggle out ballot papers and hired criminal statisticians and mathematicians to thumbprint and some urchins to thumbprint the ballot papers to match the number of PVCs uploaded at INEC server. Then, unfortunately for them, those they recruited were unable to match the thumbprinted ballot papers with the number of PVCs, uploaded before the election. So a kind of lock running after them. So you know what INEC did? After announcing the Anambra result, governorship election, INEC falsely claimed that there were leftover of 8,540 accredited voters who did not vote. This is an act of impossibility. Accredited voters who did not vote. How possible is it in the modern method a voter is accredited and he didn't vote to the tune of 8,540? So on further investigation, it was discovered that those numbers, the number of those, that is to say the 8,540 people, the so-called accredited voters who couldn't vote, were the leftover of what they wanted to, the inability of those people they recruited or recruited by preferred political party to matchably thumbprint the ballot paper given to them to match the PVCs uploaded. So that's a very technical and advanced level of technological or scientific rigging in town now. Okay. And in Anambra, this election. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much for illuminating that. Now, Comrade Atta, if I may come to you, as Emeka was speaking, he talked about the various types of rigging. Obviously, there were those that hide behind anarchists to perpetrate their own rigging, and there are those actually also done by the parties themselves. Now, as this election approaches, are there parties that you have found out with some evidences planning to rig these elections?
Well, my brother Emeka has given a rundown, and I must confess that he did wonderfully well in filling out the statistics and the trends of election rigging in Anambra State now. And the truth of the matter, like he said, is that every election comes with its own peculiarities. The method used to circumvent the system 4 years ago may not be the same thing that will be applicable now. And it continues to evolve over time. Why? People begin to become desperate over time, and they also graduate. As technology evolves, people also graduate so many clandestine methods to achieve their aim. You asking me whether we've identified parties? Well, it's obvious that in election there are some people who are very, very desperate to get power by all means, and in the course of that, they employ all methods. We've had stories about people being imported into the states. Emeka has talked about uploading, compromising the INEX server by some people. Because I was talking to the Archbishop of Onitsha, Valeria Amadou, a few days ago, and when we broached the issue of INEC not doing their work in the right way, he said that yes, it is people that actually tempt INEC, but INEC also should be that neutral and unbiased umpire that's supposed to be, by not yielding to any overtures or any form of inducement politicians or parties or candidates might come up with. So, ordinarily, what makes election an election is popular participation. And it is also expected that for one to occupy a public office, you have to get what we value so much as input legitimacy. That is, the people want you and they cast their vote and they elect you to be their governor or any other elected position. Anything contrary to the contrary, it becomes selection and the process is already modeled up. So we see as the election gears up in about 48 hours now, the desperation of some political parties who want to take power by all means, who employ both scientific and unscientific and crude methods to make sure that whatever, if east doesn't go, worse can go. I don't want to single out particular parties, but the essence of that our coalition statement is to elect the people, elect the electorates, elect the Anambra, both residents and indigenous, who knows that if by chance this process is compromised, all of us will suffer the consequences. To ensure that they come out to vote, that people are allowed.
But again, so that we don't speak in parable here, are there specifics that what the electorate should be watching out for? Obviously, we know over the time. For instance, when people say that votes don't count, when people say that PVC is nothing, and I laugh because your PVC matters to the riggers. That's why they approach you and are willing to part with their naira and give you some naira in exchange of your PVC. Now, the specific question here is, are there specific methodologies you people have uncovered, or are there new avenues you people have uncovered that the voters and the populists, the reporters, the security agents ought to be aware will be their new mechanism of approaching and likely going to use in getting out or in getting away with this rigging so planned?
Yes. Over time, like Emeka said, rigging has evolved in Anambra from the time of that flying boot syndrome, the one we call flying boot syndrome, as in whereby sometimes ballot boxes disappear and fly away, or ballot papers are thumb-printed in a hotel or in a secluded places and later on smuggled into INEC collection centers. Those era is becoming bygone. These days, it's about this ICT compromise, whereby some people, this card reader and whatever are uploaded in advance, like Emeka said. Now also, you find out that there was a news that flew out weeks back about a certain chief executive who was said to have compromised the INEC whatever with a hefty sum of money. Some people waived that discovery allegation by the side. Some people knew that there is no smoke without fire. Okay, you find out also that vote buying, that one has been obvious. It has been so entrenched into the system that sometimes you see politicians and parties, they hoard their money preparatory to on the election day, so that they give money and they monitor the process to ensure that whoever they give money votes for their party. That one is also another cankerworm on its own. Then the deal is a situation whereby the security agencies also collude with some of these party agents and INEC ad hoc staff to a kind of, and the process of voting after some period of time, they have a kind of in-house meeting, and before you know it, figures are changed. Sometimes you find out that 110 can become 1,100. Some of these alterations are done to inflate figures by some party agents who feels that they are having the upper hand to make sure that they win the election. There are so many things, but like we said in that statement, that people, one of the, that from EC8A, that is where that result is entered. A situation whereby you find out that when they are distributing sensitive materials during the election and you don't find it, is an alarm bell that is already immediately it rings. When everybody involved in the process open their eyes and ensure that that result sheet is there, and every party agent there takes record of whatever is entered there, and ensure that nothing is related or any other party tries to outwit the other person. If that thing goes round, that is also an area where this technology comes into play, whereby with ICT phones, even though they say that you shouldn't use phone in the voting cubicle. Yes, but you can use phone to snap that result sheet that has already entered and also circulate it to your people, so that at the end of the day, you make sure that those things tally with what is obtainable at the INEC collection center. These are things people should look out for and ensure that the desperados are not allowed to have their way.
Thank you very much for that explanation. Now, Emeka, if Umabalas, if I bring you back here. Now, obviously, we all know that the die is cast. Now, there is this video that we have also seen making round, though this video is slightly unverified. But again, to many, it will now be part of what they say or what they see as, the part of rigging mechanism, right? Now, if we look at this video, hold on. Let's look at this video for I've watched this video and I struggle to see where in Anambra exactly this is. Now, if you can help me, because I thought the only place that could look like this in Anambra is Oboduku Road, but Oboduku Road is a dead zone, is a dead trap. So you no longer have the demarcation here. This is obviously not Owole Road. So Owole Road is not. Atani Road doesn't have this demarcation. So now, and someone sent this video saying that this video is part of the people coming into Anambra to vote. Question is, where exactly?
Una fugonda ya to vote e for boss is na chagrele e bonde no na on dia na bia Anambra na e to vote e ana agi onu e na agi onu na bia
now gentlemen, don't know if any of you, having a mental picture of Onitsha or having a mental picture of Anambra, is there any way in Anambra that we can situate this video?
Of course.
Where?
Of course, it depends on part. It depends on the part of the state that the people that captured the video, spotted the movement of the vehicle. If you have read our statement we issued earlier today, those things were captured. In fact, we even caught one of them, because the atmosphere wasn't conducive to take more pictures. So if you look at that picture we attached in the statement, that picture was taken from my phone, and that was yesterday evening. So if you use technology, you guys use to take pictures and what have you, you will find out that it will give you a direction at very close opposite. That is what do you call this? What is this filling station? Is it on Oando by Obogu market? That is where at least they were coming into the state from Asaba, and those luxury buses. Those luxury buses started coming into the state since 2 days ago. So yesterday, dozens came into the state. 2 days ago, the same thing. So there have been conveyed such vehicles. I mean, those luxury buses into Anambra State. So it's confirmed. The video is not fake. It's properly situated. The takers took the video at a certain location in Anambra State. We saw the vehicle. We saw the luxury buses yesterday at Niger Bridge, Sokoga Junction.
No. Is that the one or the video?
Now I'm telling you the one I saw. Look at that picture, you will see it. So if you can confirm that in the picture.
Hold on, Emeka. The picture you sent me, even without speaking to you, because being born and bred up and grew up in Onitsha, immediately I saw that I knew exact location. This is by Bob and Eban Eleyabas. You can see that exactly. You can, you look at that, that you're right. You're heading towards the bridge. That's the picture you're looking at now. However, the video I played had a busy road that had a demarcation in between. What I'm trying to do is to place that video somewhere, but it appears that I'm unable to place that video somewhere in Anambra State. Now the question is, could it be that video was taken outside Anambra State? Because that road is definitely somewhere within, if at all, it has to be somewhere within a city.
There is no need stressing yourself. When you have pictorial evidence, and you have other corroborative, you have corroborative orders to back up what you are saying. For instance, it is possible that the people that took that video took them from Asaba. You can have that kind of road demarcation in Asaba. You can have that kind of road demarcation as you are going towards Okeja, Stroki, Aladem, and so on and so. So it depends on the direction, the movement, the vehicles we are moving. But I am telling you that so many people saw the vehicles in Anambra State. It depends on the direction. The vehicle they go.
Hold on. The question is,
Okay, I think I can come in.
There are Anambra indigents who live outside the state, who have decided to come home to cast their vote. Now, there are also people there are also people who are coming home to people who are coming inside the state to obviously engage in one illegal activity or the other. The question is, are they not making this
I understand where you are going, but I think no. I think what you need to do is that I as a civil society leader, has confirmed seeing the vehicles. Why many people didn't take much pictures. For instance, there is this woman that read that statement and told me that they were heading to Boromeo, as they were in a traffic jam, towards Boromeo, when they saw the luxurious buses moving the same yesterday, and she counted up more than 10. They were in a traffic. So I now asked her, why didn't you take pictures? She said they were shooting. It wasn't conducive for her to take pictures. So the video I have confirmed to you, and at least one of the pictures I sent you can cite the vehicle, showing you that thank God you agree that the vehicle, the location is irrebuttable, as in the location is certain, is certified. So the question is, that kind of branded vehicle or luxury bus, was there a place in Anambra State that any of them was cited? And that has been proven to you. So has it been that you are asking a question without any form of proof, except that particular one you are having, then it would have become a different ballgame. I don't think you are in the know, or me, our lawyer, is in the know of all the road networks in Anambra. And when those vehicles were being moved into Anambra, like more than 30 persons witnessed or saw them yesterday, even when they were shooting. So that one is not in doubt. Then I was thinking that you were asking whether.
No, the question. Okay.
What is the question?
Here is, obviously, we know that this influx is happening now, and we have a sitting government in Anambra State. Are you not? Is there anything the government is doing to checkmate such influx of individuals, and where are these individuals coming from, and for what purpose? I mean, obviously, rhetorical.
Well, I think I think no, it's not. Your question is in order. Ordinarily, if somebody is the governor of Anambra State, and he is the chief security officer of the Anambra State, he is supposed to be on top of the security arrangements in Anambra. As the chief security officer of Anambra State, you cannot be moving that kind of, dozens of jam-packed in green colors. Not only in green colors, there are those who saw others marked with Niger State government and things like that and what have in different locations in Anambra State. So it's no longer hidden.
Okay.
And
so
some people have come out to tell me that, look, those people loaded in there.
Thank you very much. Let me bring Aloy in here. Aloy, what's your take on this? And again, why does it appear that the state is because recall in 2014, there was an interception that happened before Abia Towers on Enugu Port Harcourt Expressway. An interception happened where some northerners were seen in a convoy about 12 buses heading somewhere to Abia State, and that was stopped, and DSS got involved. Now, how come that in a state of Anambra State, and everyone keeps saying, people, we are seeing these buses coming in? Why does it appear to you that the state appears incapable of actually reassuring people that these are either real travelers or they should be held to know what they are doing in that state?
Okay, it's a simple thing. That's why I was making sign. Let me come in. Actually, the state government has made official statement about that this evening. I have the statement in my kitty right now. It was signed by the Commissioner for Information, Sidon Adenoba.
Sidon Adenoba.
Yes, those luxurious buses actually came into the state, and they came through the Niger Bridge, Asaba end, and entered Anambra. Now, the state government said this evening in that statement that those buses were conveying security agencies who came for the election. I don't know. It was not specific whether they are soldiers, police, civil defense, or what. It just said security agencies coming in for the election. And say people should not fear. It's all for our own good. But the truth of the matter is that I said it before, that this is a battle of wits and desperation among different parties. It's very obvious that APGA, as a sitting government in Anambra, wants to retain the seat of Awka government house. PDP wants to come in. APC, as a national party, is also desperate to come in. Okay, all these other parties and their candidates also doing their own. So the state government has owned up that those security agencies, those vehicles were actually came into the state and they were conveying security agencies. But the question is, what is the mission of those security agencies? Are they coming on a mission to aid a particular candidate and a particular party? Or are they coming to do an impartial job of securing both the candidates and the electorates and boosting the confidence of that electorate that come out to vote that you are protected? These are questions that will be unraveled.
And if I flip that question and ask you that question, what's your honest take?
From my crystal ball, is obvious that the mission may actually cheat in carrying out a particular script to deliver a particular party and its candidates. But that is why it's part of what we are doing here now. This conversation which we generated here is for the people of the state to open their eyes, to shine their eyes. So it is now time, thank God, that the sit-at-home issue has been cancelled this evening. In the next 12 hours tomorrow, there is a lot of work to do by the same security agencies, by the same INEC, by the same state governments. Because I mentioned it to the head of the Commissioner of Police, Anambra, a few days ago during their press briefing about the preparedness of this thing. And what we said in that statement, when you overwhelm the people with security, you end up scaring them to retire into their home instead of boosting them, their confidence that they are being protected. So these things, so there is every likelihood of the fact that those security agencies are coming on a mission to act as scripts. But the thing is that the seat of Anambra government house should be determined by the generality of Anambra electorates. Nobody should be foisted on the people. That is part of what we are doing here, which I thank you for initiating, because I believe we are changing the narratives even as we are talking now.
Thank you very much for that acknowledgement. Now, let me also bring this to our attention. Now, if we watch this clearly, obviously, I did watch the press briefing and I heard where they said that about 35,000. I'm like, 35,000 various security agents are in the state. I say, now what will they do? 35,000. I remember and I recall when Ekiti State happened and Buhari was happily saying that why Ekiti and Oshun, they took 27,000 and they, if they were going to war. But here is a small Anambra state that is slightly bigger than Lagos State, now being overwhelmed and saturated. And I think that should actually worry any citizen of that state by that statement, because I think, however you dice it, however you look at it, that the usage of that word, saturated, calls for concern. But again, let's look at this, the police show of power here and show of force, and let's have your reaction. Now, in fairness, and to deepen this conversation, we all know that the state of Anambra in the last couple of months have seen serious increase in crime activities. Now, and luckily, and we say thank God that the IPOB have called off the 1 week sit at home. And in that statement, they say they do not, and they are not encouraging anyone to go out to enforce that. That means anyone seen at the polling booth or anywhere trying to stop people from voting is nothing but a criminal. And that person should be dealt with, in the words of President Muhammadu Buhari, in a language he or she will understand. Having said that, Emeka, I come back to you, Emeka Balasi, and I say, having watched this video, what is your impression of the Nigerian security agents in curbing this impending rigging that, in the series of reports that you and the coalition of civil societies have brought out, warning Anambra on the impending danger? Do you think that the Nigerian security agents are indeed serious and ready for the task ahead? Emeka Mabaras, are you there? Emeka, did you hear my question? Emeka Mabaras, are you there? Emeka, you may have to check your connection. So Aloysius, you had my question. So what's your take on it?
Please help me again.
Okay.
A recap of the question.
So I said, having watched this video, you obviously have seen what the police obviously show of force. Do you think that the police are now in a position to thwart that which you people have read and reviewed in your report?
Well, it's a two-way thing.
Are you done?
Yes, Emeka, I asked you.
Can you hear? Okay.
No, I asked you a question, but it appears you didn't hear me. Can you hear me now? Emeka, can you hear me now?
The network was, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so did you hear the question I asked you before?
I can hear you clearly.
Did you hear the question I asked you before?
I can hear you. Hello.
Okay. I repeat. Did you hear the question I asked you before? Do you want me to repeat the question?
I had the question. I had the question.
Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, I had the question. The truth of the matter is that. No, I know. I'm aware. I'm aware. Don't worry. There is no need repeating it. I heard you loud and clear.
Oh dear. I think the network is really not playing. So sorry, Aloysius Emeka, go ahead.
Yes, the police command led by CP Echen told us that the police will be civil with that civil voter, but will be ruthless with those with criminal elements. But my worry in all these things is that the top hierarchy of the police may have their own position, but the people in the field may do a different thing altogether. If you look at, apart from the police that we saw now, the army on their own is a different matter altogether. They were using all manner of derogatory languages, telling the people that we are around and everybody should know that any slightest thing that the person will be dealt with. You see them even in the course of trying to say that they have arrived, they end up harassing drivers, beating them up, and things like that. Unprovoked attack on innocent motorists. So when all these things are now taken to the polling units on the election day, or even as they man their different respective duty posts on election day, you find out that there may be casualties, but we don't pray for that. So I think I should not be a pessimist. Let me believe the statement of the Commissioner of Police, who said that they will be civil and ruthless with criminal. Being ruthless with criminal elements also doesn't mean there are rules of engagement, and there are what we also call in the rules of engagement using of a professional force, and not a situation whereby you want to kill a fly with a sledgehammer, all in the name of being ruthless also to criminal elements. So the message is that the police or the security agencies need to reassure the people, just like I said earlier about the government, that in the next 12 hours, as we witnessed a new dawn of the day on Friday morning, between that Friday morning before evening, a new atmosphere of certainty is expected to filter around every part of the state, that without tension, that we tell the people that it's a new dawn where people will now come out, really, the real sense of it, to come and exercise their franchise without fear of being molested. Or
but when you look at what the security agencies have done, I mean, I think probably what we are doing and what we will be doing, and consistently so, is to ensure that no one is harmed. Emeka, yes. You back? Can you hear us now? Emeka, you there?
I'm back.
Okay. So now, obviously, we moved on and we talked about the security agencies and how they need to stay on top of their game, ensuring that nobody who is innocent is harmed in this process. Now, but let me that's on the security agents and their job. But I need to still come back to something not yet, in my estimation, dealt with clearly. For the average Anambralian watching us now globally and those at home, still bordering on the rigging. I want to come back to the rigging. I think we need to call a spade a spade. Who are those planning to rig this election? Comrade Aloysius Atta here. Who are those planning to rig this election?
To me, I've told you before that there is a level of desperation among all the major parties.
Okay, what are you trying to say, that everyone in this game is trying to rig this election?
There is a level of desperation among the major parties, but I can see it is more of a battle of wits between the APGA and the APC, who will outdo each other. Let me put it that way.
So in essence, now, do you see this election and its outcome being something to reckon with for the great Igbo nation beyond Anambra State?
Yes. Anambra has always been a pace-setter state. And it's unfortunate that the downward trend we witnessed before, and how that 21/21 came 4 years ago. But that one is a story for another day. But I believe that this election, going by all the intrigues and the tension and the prevailing uncertainty and insecurity or whatever, if eventually we don't hope for the worst, I think that Anambra spirit of tenacity and being resolute should all play. That for the fact that this is also a staggered election, it will go a long way. The outcome will go a long way to determine what the Igbo nation should be.
Okay, let me put it point blank to you. Do you think there is special interest by the federal government to see that Anambra election goes in certain direction?
Yeah, to an extent. But the truth is that President Buhari has, I can say, to a large extent, no special interest per se. But the people working within him, we saw what the AGF, Malami,
yeah.
his body language and his pronouncement the other day. There are people within the corridors of power within Buhari who are actually plotting that Anambra must go to APC. But those their schemes and plans, Buhari, as a president, is not the chief executor of such. I can say that.
Now, some people might argue with you that that is not a form of taquia. But again, some might also actually agree with you, because that the president in many occasions have shown and have acted as a man who has no interest in the Anambra State election. But no one could say that of the Attorney General of the Federation in the person of Malami.
Yes.
Because remember, if you recall, when the candidate of the APC was elected, some say selected, or in their primaries, but that's a story for another day. There was this conflict between when the Senator Chris, Dr. Senator Chris Ngige, actually protested that the processes that brought him up wasn't right. And it got to a point that the vice president got involved, to a point that there appeared, for many who knew the behind the scene intrigues that happened, the vice president actually, there were some ruffle in-house fighting between the vice president and the AGF. which led to a point that the vice president finally did not come to Anambra to flag off that campaign. Now it appears some leaders of APC in the Southeast are not in agreement with the APC candidate. However, from Abuja, we know it is very visible to the blind and audible to the deaf that AGF Malami has a horse in this race. Do you agree with that analogy?
Yes. Very, very obvious. That's why I said that there is a difference between the president and the presidency.
Sure.
What we see, as always, that has been playing out is people from within the presidency doing so many things, going out of the way to even commit serious blunders in order to make sure that they achieve some of their inordinate. Jesus Christ.
So people, it appears the network in Nigeria is not helping matters. Be that as it may, obviously we've been, in the last hours, we've been looking at the election in Anambra State and the plans to rig this election. And in the studio, I had with me Comrade Emeko Mabarasi, who is the BOT chairman of Inter Society. Now, also in the same conversation with me, before before a network kicked them out, was also Comrade Aloysius Emeka Atta, who is the head of Civil Liberty Organization CLO Southeast. Many of you, if you go to njenjemedia.com, you will obviously look at the various statements that they put out warning in the Anambra on the impending rigging and the various forms that they are likely to come in. Hence, the necessity to convene this and explore this more with the two gentlemen. It's been a fascinating time. And the more I look at this, the more I listen to the gentlemen, the more, we interrogate this. And the next question was actually a question someone who is also watching now, I believe, that is Emenike Samson is putting across, was the next question I was about asking them, will be, there are reports that people were not allowed to have their voters card. What were they going to vote with? If you recall, in 2019, there was this report in Lagos State that some people bearing certain names were not allowed to go collect their PVCs. Now, the question sometimes some of us would actually argue, why allow your PVC collection to only get to the point of last minute? It appears many of us like lastminute.com. But be that as it may, whether you came in early to collect it, whether you came late to collect it, there should be no obstruction in the collection of your PVC. Be that as it may, I will say, thank you very much for being part of this. Technology and network, Nigeriana, we say, if Nigeria has never happened to you, you may not understand how bad things are. As we look at it now, Nigeria indeed has happened to us, even to this conversation. On that note, I say thank you very much for being part of this conversation. Join me on Saturday. We will be having live coverage, live broadcast with, covering this event as they happen. On that note, I will say thank you very much for being part of this broadcast. I am still Mazi.